by India Spend, India's first and leading data journalism initiative. And I'm going to be your quiz master today. I'm just giving you a bit of a heads up. I have never in my life been a quiz master, so you got to cut me a little bit of slack if I don't do this as well as some of the pros you might have had in the past. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to kick this off by talking to you about myself a little bit. My name is Varun. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an author, and I'm a podcaster. I started a company called The Glitch way back in 2009 out of my apartment, and over 10 years, built it to being one of India's largest creative agencies. We went from two people in an apartment to about 400 odd people across the country. And post that, around that time as well, I also started hosting a couple of podcasts. I host three podcasts. One's called Advertising is Dead, the other one's called Think Fast, and the third one's called Take a Pause. Two of them, the first two deal with really like democratizing how you can learn about the world of business and entrepreneurship and marketing, whereas Take a Pause focus a lot more on mindset building and performance development and stuff like that. So that's what I do. I also recently published my book, which is right now mirrored at the back. It's called Everything is Out of Syllabus. It came out in Feb. It's one of those things which I've always wanted to do, but spent 2021 writing it, and it just came out. It was a book which I wrote for a 20-year-old me. The idea was simply that what would I have wanted to learn about that wasn't in school syllabus, wasn't in college syllabus when I was 19, 20. And I went back through the last 20 years of my life. I'm almost 40, I'll be 40 in 5 months. And said, okay, what would I have wanted to learn about? And I realized there were 5 things that you never really taught in life. You never taught how to start things. You told to go, but never told how to start. You never taught how to make choices. You never really taught how to learn, because we go towards education, but have we ever taught how to learn? And what we also not taught is how to connect with other people. What we also taught is how to reflect within ourselves. It's not a traditional, what you call self-help category book, if that's the category we're talking about. It's more about what you can learn about yourself through the stuff that I'm sharing from my own life, stuff that I have learned along the way, stuff from things that people far more intelligent and interesting than me have kind of dug out from the worlds of philosophy, from the worlds of neuroscience, and everything in between. And that's what the book's about. And so without me going on and on about myself beyond this, the idea today is very simply going to be that what we're going to do is, for the winners of today's quiz, I'm going to be giving away a signed copy of my book. And so that's how we're going to kick this piece off. Now, I also saw in the notes that Vanshika actually said she's a big fan of mine. Thanks so much, Vanshika. Thank you for consuming my content. I actually haven't spoken about a few things. I also write a weekly newsletter that goes out 3 times a week now, and a few others, but always good to meet someone who consumes my content. So let me first kick off by saying today, the 2nd of April, is World Autism Day. And a lot of the questions you're going to be given today are also going to touch upon autism and really kind of test your bias, right? We're not trying to say, do you know everything? It's about just testing your bias in terms of how, how much you know, and other what you don't know, and can maybe kind of start a thought in your head, because oftentimes things that start thoughts in our head are actually how we learn and evolve as human beings. So again, I will stop blabbering away, as I can very easily do. It's a problem of being a podcaster that you love to talk a lot. So for those of you who are doing this for the first time, there's going to be a bunch of questions. If you have already signed in, I know that the Kahoot login and the game pin was shared with you earlier. I'm going to be throwing a bunch of questions at you. You're going to have to choose what option you feel is right, and at the end of it, you're going to just tally the points. And yeah, somebody's raised their hand. That's true. Let me just ask someone who has raised their hand if they have to ask, or you can just drop it in the chat if you have a point to kind of put out there. So, okay, so let me do this. Let me just share my screen first. So everybody can see Okay, we have a bunch of players here. Okay, this is going to be fun. Okay, second, figure the best way to make sure I can see everybody's names as much as possible. So we're going to start off in a minute. And what we're going to start off with is a few poll questions. Now, the poll questions aren't really about right or wrong. It's just kind of gauge what you think the best option is. So let's kick off with that one here. I can see a few more people popping in here. So I'm going to give it a second. Let's see if we can kind of get a few more people in here. Yes, we're kind of going on and on and on. And I'm going to see if I hit. See, this is nice. So I'm going to get a few seconds. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for telling me how to expand my screen. See, it's always helps to have people who can help you in kind of making this sound good. So, okay, I think we've hit a decent number. Might be a good time to kind of kick this off. So, I'm just going to ask everybody in the chat as well. Is it time to start? Is it time to start? Can we start on this chat as well? Oh, wait, we got a few more people who pop in here. Okay, every time I say we should go, we're going to start, it feels like there are a few more people jumping in. So, should I wait for another minute? What do you guys think? Should I wait for another minute or so and see if a few more people join in? Okay, so while we wait for more people to join in, let me kind of pop in a little bit more about my book. It's a great way to kind of fill the time, I guess. It covers all ends of things. So I've had a bit of an interesting journey. I don't claim to have had what's called an exceptional life. There are few people in this world who have an exceptional life. I have had an interesting life. I come from a place called Kakinada on the coast of Andhra Pradesh. Grew up in pretty, I would say, standard South Indian family. Half my family are doctors, half are engineers. The doctors stayed in India. The engineers went back off to America. I went from there to Bangalore early on, I would say, during my 11th and 12th, and the world kind of changed for me because suddenly went from the relative, what you say, security of living in a small town to going to a city and suddenly realizing you don't necessarily fit in, you don't know what you're supposed to do. So I went through many years of trying to figure out what was happening around me, right? Career wise, life wise, relationships, friendships, everything else. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, then bumbled my way through a very extended engineering degree. I finished a 4-year engineering degree over 6 years, but I did moonlight a bit. I worked as a promoter for a few liquor companies. I worked as a call center executive for AOL as an American Online. And during that time, I ended up applying to study a mass communication course. Somehow got in. I actually write about how I got in my book. It is a bit of luck and a bit of, I would say, serendipity that I kind of got in. And I studied filmmaking, ended up working at MTV and Channel V, and after that started Glitch Off. But I've not really stuck to the straight line in life. I've always tried to try different things. Anytime someone throws something new at me, I'm always trying to figure out what else I can do. One of my more recent things has actually been the fact that while I've written a book, what I also love to do is to see how much I can share with people out there. So while everyone talks about creators creating content about what they know, what I like to do is actually share stuff which I am learning from people and what I feel they can kind of learn from other authors or other creators. So my whole point is to almost be in the curation economy business of sorts, if that's the term to use. So I think we have a decent set of people here. I am going to kick off if anyone joins in the middle, and we'll join in the middle. So let's go with these people. So let's start the quiz right about now. Okay. While this loads up, okay. Yes. Going to start in 3, 2. I've always wondered how countdowns work. Why do we always start with 3 and not with something beyond that? So we're going to start off with our poll questions. And your first poll question is going to be, what's your favorite way to learn? Now, there's a concept called VARK, which is basically, are you a visual learner? Do you learn better by seeing something visually? Are you an audio learner? Like, does listening to something make you learn it faster? Do you like to just read, which is how we were all taught in many ways? How do you just learn by reading? Or are you kinesthetic, which is, do you touch and feel and learn from that? It's interesting that I can see a lot more visual here than I see reading, which is interesting. I would pick kinesthetic. That's how I actually realized that I learn the best is I actually learn through kinesthetic. So this, so hold on a second. Just gonna move to the next one. Okay, now on to the next one. Okay, how do you think, or rather, what do you think creativity is driven by? We all talk about being creative. What is creativity driven by for you? Curiosity, passion, appreciation, acknowledgement, or is it inborn talent? Which one do you think actually drives the creative person in you? Curiosity, that is, and in many ways, and this is interesting, there's been a lot of studies that actually say that curiosity is where creativity comes from. Most people ask you to follow your passion, but what actually makes sense oftentimes is for you to follow your curiosity, and that's actually where creativity really kind of supposedly comes from. Let's go on to a word cloud. Tell us that one quality you feel is very important to have in your life. Come on, type in your answers. I want to see what everyone's putting down here. We got another 20 seconds. What's that one quality you have in life? Let's see. It's 10 seconds. And Paul Rudd wants to know what that quality is that you want to kind of, or rather you feel is important in your life. Playing football, that's an interesting quality to pick. Passion, curiosity, honesty. I love the fact that empathy is shown up here. Just trying to see which ones I feel interesting. Patriotism, of course. I personally would say curiosity is the most important one to have. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, done with the polls. It's time to get down to the quiz questions. And everybody get up. You know the answers. Now you got to choose right for you to come up with the most number of points. So let's see how this one goes. True or false? This is for double points. Autism spectrum disorder is more common amongst girls than boys. What do you think? Is this true or is this false? Okay, I know. You're testing your bias as much as you are testing how much you know. So 3, 2, 1. The answer is actually false. So 27 people here who gave the right answer. It's also something to think about, right? We often think about these in terms of gender in many ways, but if you look at it in that sense, it might not be exactly what we thought it was. Okay, let's move on to the next question. But before that, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Okay, Yukta is right on top here, but close, Madan's falling close. I think it's too close right now because we only pretty much just started. So let's move on to the next question here. Okay, back to true or false. But 1 in 100 children have autism. What do you think? Seems like a very high number. Maybe most of us feel that that's not necessarily true. It doesn't seem to be as common, or is it? Oh, think. It is true, and that's something to think about. Is that if 1 every 100 children has autism, then it's something that we should all be a lot more aware about, and we somehow don't necessarily know enough. So, for 36 of you who got it right, it's good that you know this, but I think for all of us about thinking about this fact as well. Okay. Oh, we've had a bit of a switch here. Anuj has gone right after, but Swati is like a point behind. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be uh, tough to jump. Okay, on to the next one. The number of electric vehicles in India. Hmm, this is a tricky one, isn't it? How do you know how many there are in India? I'm guessing, and I'm going to throw a bit of a guess. I have the answer in front of me, but I still want to guess. I don't think I would have chosen the right answer. I'm pretty sure I would have gotten the wrong answer because I believed they were. I should not say this. If I say it's less or more, I'm giving something away, and I'm not going to do that. So, yes, oh, most of you, or a large number of you, have got this right. There are, I mean, but 10.76 lakh plus ish electric cars in India. So let's see what this does to the score. Okay. Anuj is still right up there. Anuj has got a lot of facts on point today. So let's see how that plays out as move ahead. I'm not pushing you to not be on top, Anuj, but I want to see who else can kind of pop up there and move forward. Okay, the next one is for double points. So let's see how this goes. The number of EV public charging stations in India. Now you know how many EV vehicles there were. How many charging stations do you think we have? I hope it's not too low, is what we would hope, considering there's so many cars there. But what do you think might be the answer? Don't just pick it by the color. Think about the fact that, yes, again, a large number if you got it right. I mean, for all the people who chose 742, which is the second highest one, although that is the lowest number, I would have guessed that they're very low as well. But there are 1,742 charging stations, which is not good, but I would say it's not bad considering the number of cars there. So I guess we're in a below average take here, hopefully rising thanks to the growing EV market in India. What has that done to the scores? Anuj has finally been pushed off the top, and Krish has jumped right on top. So, okay, this is kind of heating up. Things are kind of moving in. 4 players have answered all 4 questions correctly so far. So I think this is heating up. This is heating up. We're not just running through our or rather testing our biases. We also kind of seeing that a lot of people actually know these. Okay, double points again. Losses incurred by government of India due to suspension of domestic and international flights during the last 2 years go to how much? How much do you think it is? I don't think this is that tough a question to answer, because if you consider the number of flights that we have all taken, I will not say anything more. That is a bit of a hint for a question that was already pretty simple to answer. So I will not help you fly away with this one. But see, 34 people got it right. So I'd say that was a pretty simple one. I think that we've thrown a bit of a simple response in here, simple question rather in here in the middle of all the slightly trickier ones we initially threw at you. So let's see what that does. Let's see what that does. Who's come back on top? Okay. Gracious hop right on top. But I have been noticing that Sandhya has been around for a while as well in these top ranks. So she is not that far behind. Let's see how this kind of moves ahead now. Double points again. Okay. Females between this age group are twice more likely to die from pregnancy and childbirth. That's a tricky one, right? If you want to get the right answer, but you might also hope that that is not necessarily the right answer. So you should think about that. You should think about the answer, because the answer might in many ways, while you might get the points, it might not be what you want to hear. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else. And we'll see what the answer is. Yes, it is 15 to 19, unfortunately, is actually the age group where the most number of women and females die due to pregnancy and childbirth. It's something to think about, isn't it? It's something to think about. Just the age group where in pregnancy and childbirth are a huge factor in people's lives. And again, the idea here is not just to get things right, but for it also think about the facts and relearn them so that you can kind of pay it forward and share these facts as you speak to someone else and someone you meet on those people who share those random facts on WhatsApp. That's the worst kind. Okay, Krish is still stuck on top, but Mukesh has jumped right up. Okay, now only 4 players have reached the answer streak of 3, or rather 4 players have reached the answer streak of 3. So let's see what happens. We have a few more questions left. There aren't that many left, so some of you can still jump back in. There's some interesting ones coming up. So let's see how this progresses. Okay, this state reported the highest number of child marriage cases in 2020. Which state could it be? It's not a stat which any state should ideally ever want, that they have had the most number of child marriages. But it's important to know. Also important to kind of then look into the fact that why that state? What is the socio-economic state in that state that is leading to this number being true? So I want to see what everybody's kind of got right and wrong. Again, it's a close one though. It's a close one. 21 people chose Rajasthan, which I also would have chosen, I feel. But the answer is actually Karnataka. 19 people, the second highest number of people chose Karnataka, and that's actually the right answer. And I think that in general it is a stat which can kind of hit you hard, but you need to think about it. You need to then look into why that's happening in that state and really dig into those facts a lot more for you to know more, to kind of know the right kind of information. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Krish is still on a streak. Okay, Krish is still on a streak, but and he seems to be running away with this one right up on top. Is somebody going to kind of pip him at his spot, if that's the right way to say it? I often don't get these terms right. I hear them, you read them, but when you say them, they don't sound right. Okay, so let's see. Krish has actually got 7 correct answers in a row. Did you have the questions beforehand? Is that how you've gotten all these right? Okay, let's again double points. Time for someone to kind of get closer to Krish. Under the Civil Aviation Ministry's one-hand bag rule, this item is permissible to be carried on a flight. This one's going to be interesting. Are you allowed to carry an LED projector, a telescope? I can't pronounce the word, but the blood pressure monitor and binoculars. I can't even say it. I can't pronounce that word, but I'm going to try. It's definitely not what that guy's carrying in his bag there in the GIF. But what do you think the answer is? What do you think the answer is? See, all of y'all thought, and as rightly so, 32 people thought that it would be something for blood pressure. Unfortunately, the right answer is binoculars. You can carry a pair of binoculars on a flight. You can't necessarily carry a medical instrument that you can use for your blood pressure. I guess, I don't know how to respond to this fact. It's a fact that boggles my mind, but as it does. So I guess make sure you carry binoculars. You're allowed to. So if you have a pair, carry it with you on a flight. As weird as that might sound. Okay, let's move ahead and see. Has somebody? No. Oh, okay. Okay. Vanshika's fastest climber. She's up 18 places. Come on, Vanshika. But can you come closer to Krish? Although Sandhya's coming closer, she's getting there. Okay, let's see. We got a few more questions to go. Under the Krishi Udhan scheme, 7 routes and agri-produce have been identified. The Amritsar-Dubai route focuses on... What is the Amritsar-Dubai route? I wonder what it could be. What agri-produce is going to be in the Amritsar-Dubai route? There seems to be an obvious one, but obvious ones are never necessarily the correct answers. It's the only hint I will throw at you. Abhay, you put some points here, but I would say choose wisely because the correct answer is baby corn. Yes, baby corn is what's going from Amritsar to Dubai. It's interesting, right? I would have thought wheat, to be honest. My instinct said wheat was the right answer, but turns out it's baby corn. And so for the 11 of you, oh, this has been interesting. 17 people said wheat and 17 said mustard, but the answer is baby corn. Baby corn seems to be having a good time traveling from Amritsar to Dubai. That did not sound like an interesting sentence at all. Krish is still ruling the roost here, but Anika's popped up on top. Sandhya still close, and so is Mukesh. So we have a few people kind of jumping in here, and let's see what the next question is. We have just a few more questions left. True or false for double points. So come on, come on. You can officially learn to operate a drone in India. Is this true or false? Can you officially learn to operate a drone? Think about it. What do you think? Would this even be a thing? I mean, I always assumed YouTube is all you need to learn how to operate a drone, but yes, you can officially learn. 43 of you got it right. I mean, I would say this is the highest percentage of people who actually gotten a question right. I have feeling this would be the one in that sense. Abhay, you said false, but unfortunately for you, that's what you chose, and you're in the 12 people who said false. It is true. Okay. Okay, this is kind of heating up a little bit. Anika's getting close, not too close, but close enough is what I feel. So we have one more question to go. It's a puzzle. It's a double point, so you can actually get a lot through this. Rank these waterborne diseases from high to low based on the number of cases. Viral hepatitis A, leptospirosis, cholera, or acute diarrheal disease. Which of these? And read the question carefully. You need to rank them from high to low based on the number of cases. It's high to low. Take your time. Think about how each of these, what they would affect, how you could actually get some of them. I actually don't know how you get leptospirosis, cholera, hepatitis A, and diarrheal disease. I would know, but I'm just trying to thinking what the order could actually be. Think. This question was definitely not part of syllabus. Sorry, I had to say it. Could not help myself. Yes. Only one person got this one. I want to know who this one person is. Acute diarrheal disease, leptospirosis, then hepatitis A, and then cholera. That's the correct order. So, yes, what is the podium looking like? Anika's at number 3. Congratulations, Anika. I'm going to clap here right next to my mic. Isha is at number 2. And who's at number 1? I think we know who that is. Krish, who's been kind of like really taking this one away from the beginning. We also have Madan and Priya, who are like runners up at 4 and 5. Congrats, all of you. Congrats for getting this right. And I think more than anything else, congrats for knowing these facts and for really kind of, not just sharing that by kind of putting this out there. I think for everybody here, the 50 odd people who have been doing this quiz, I think for all of you, you've learned a bunch of facts here. You've tested a bunch of your biases, and what you kind of move towards now is to kind of share some of these facts. Other people, again, remember today is World Autism Day. You've learned a few facts at the beginning of World Autism, but we also kind of dug into some topics across EVs and aviation, and also on child marriages and deaths due to childbirth. So we've gone across the spectrum. But to all of you who have gotten it right, congratulations. And for those of you who haven't, you have learned what is right. So you can share that with everyone as well. So that should be, I would say, the end of this quiz. Yes. Thank you everyone for participating today. And I hope I made it fun. I don't know. Please rate. Since you've all rated this, rate how I was as a quiz master. Did I just run through it too quickly? Did I make it some sort of fun? Why you like? Why is this guy even trying to be a quiz master? Feedback is always helpful. Let me know. And again, to all the winners, you're going to get a signed copy of my book. Everything is out of syllabus. For everybody else, if you're interested to read a book which isn't about just my life and all that stuff, it's about stuff that you can kind of learn about the world around you, ways to learn, ways to make choices, ways to connect with people around you, relationships, mentors, at work, life, everywhere else, and most importantly, reflect within yourself. So it's a it's an easy read. It's about 200 pages, 150, 200 pages. So it's not going to take you that long to read. So pick it up at your local bookstore. You can find it on Amazon as well. Let me know what you think. If you like it, don't like it, you can anybody wants to reach out, you can DM me at the rate Varun Duggi on most social platforms. I generally do respond within a couple of days at max, sometimes even quicker than that. So thank you for popping in.